long-term goals. If you don't know who I am Dr. Michael Lee, consultant here, and I'm really excited today because you may see I'm in a different background because I am in London at the Millionaire Mind Intensive. Really excited to come and serve all these future millionaires to make sure that they have this growth mindset. But before I actually begin, just let me know if you're checking in live, just put live into the chat, or if you're checking in later on as a replay, just put a replay in the chat. But remember, I'm just here to serve every one of you to make sure that you are growing and actually getting that growth mindset so that you can be successful and gain whatever goal you want in your life. But the thing is that before I actually begin, I just want to talk about if you do not have a growth mindset, what is actually going to happen? So the first thing that's going to happen is this. Remember, our whole lives is just a massive habit. Whatever we choose to do, whatever we choose not to do, it is just a massive habit. But you need to ask this question for yourselves. The habits that you are doing, are they serving you well? Because you know, because you're in your life and in your journey, you'll know exactly the things that make you productive and the things that don't. The things that give you joy, the things that don't, the things that give you success, the things that give you failure. But only you will know. But the fact is this, a lot of people, they actually have a lot of bad habits, but the thing is they actually avoid even acknowledging what that bad habit is. And they just keep going, because it gives them that kind of short-term kind of happiness or short-term joy. But actually in the long term, what they feel is, I really wish I didn't waste that time. Or I really wish that I used my time to create something that would give me long-term joy or long-term success. But also that when people actually don't have, I call them these goals in life, they always see like, there's a big long-term goal. And sometimes some people think it's a bit out of reach. So what they do is they don't even start. You know, there's this famous saying about learning skills and actually achieving goals in life. To even learn one skill, just to learn, I'm not saying master it, it takes 20 hours. Just to learn a skill, just to make sure you can do it pretty well. But the real problem with a lot of people is this, that although it only takes 20 hours to learn a skill, they spend an entire lifetime just to start the first hour. And I want to ask you that question because if you are one of those, I'm going to inverted commas, a procrastinator, you will know exactly what I'm talking about. And I'm going to challenge you and say, hey, if you know you need to learn something to either give you joy, success, to serve the world, serve your audience, whether it is learning a skill, whether it's video editing, whether it's social media, whether it's being on camera, I'm going to challenge you to start that first hour. Because when you start the first hour, then you gain something called momentum. Because let me ask you a simple question. How many times have you started and then stopped? And then you have all this resistance to then start again. And it requires so much energy. And then you think, I really wish I didn't even stop. And that's the thing that a lot of people, they have a lot of regrets in life. And I don't want that to be you, of course. But you will know your patterns because nobody's lived in your life longer than you. The other thing that when people don't actually have this growth mindset is that, of course, we know that every area of our life, whether it's health, wealth, relationships, it's just like a plant. If the plant isn't growing, it is dying. And that's why I want to challenge you here that we know that to make our lives as happy as possible, we need to be growing in those three areas, our health, our wealth, and our relationships. Because it only just takes one of them to start dying that it brings the rest of them down as well. So let me know in the chat, which one of those do you need to be working on right now first? It could be health, wealth, or relationships, or it could be even all three of them. But the good thing is it always starts with you. Because remember, there's only one person that can give you success in life. Point to yourself. It's me. And there's only one person that can give you failure in life. Point to yourself. It's me. It's the same person, right? So you're probably actually thinking, Michael, just tell me what your tips are. And I'll tell you the things that I would do if you want to cultivate that growth mindset so that you can achieve not only short-term goals, but also your long-term goals as well. So number one is this. And I do this in my daily routine as well. Because I know in in my body and how my body works, that when I have the most energy is actually when I wake up. Early in the morning, I have the most energy, and then I want to use that energy to tackle the tasks, the things that have the greatest resistance. Because always remember that if you have like a task that requires a lot of energy and you leave it to the end of the day, what are the chances of you actually doing it? Then you go into that mindset of, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do it tomorrow. And guess what? Tomorrow never comes. So this is what I want to challenge you. Write down the hardest tasks you have, right? And then everyone's a little bit different. Then you need to know when you have the highest energy. When you have your highest energy, then execute the tasks when you have the highest energy. Because once it's done, then you're pretty much on autopilot. The tasks for the rest of the day just become easier. Which leads me to number 2 now. Because now I'm asking you to schedule your tasks in accordance of where your energy is during the day. I'm asking you now to create a habit. Can you create your habit from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to sleep? A lot of people don't realize this, that actually my entire day is actually diarized. I know exactly when I need to go to sleep. I know exactly when I need to wake up. And actually, I'll give you a quick tip here. A lot of people think that, you always need to put an alarm to wake up. But actually, I find it more important to put an alarm to make sure I go to sleep. Then my body clock is always consistent. So then when I wake up, I have lots of energy. I know what I need to do as well. But I want you to create those habits. Create the habits of actually 8 o'clock. You may wake up at 8. That's what I need to do. 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. And once you've got that system and that habit, then actually it becomes a lot easier. Because remember this, how many people really like change? People don't like change. And that's why the hardest bit is changing at the beginning. But you know why, and the key word is why you are doing it. If you do it for the right reasons, maybe it's to serve people, maybe it's to serve yourself, maybe it's for your loved ones. Whatever that reason is, make sure your why is big enough. Because when it's big enough, it will create change. It will create transformation. Then you will actually do what you say you will do. So make sure that you actually create those habits and those systems so that you can set yourself up for success. Let me give you the third thing that I'd always recommend. Actually having success, and I can actually vouch for this as well, it's really lonely. When you get to the top or when you are getting more and more success, it's really lonely. Because you always wish that all of your loved ones, all of your friends, your peers, they're actually getting the same success as you. That they are all moving forward, gaining whatever financial success, health success, relationship success. You actually wish you all go at the same rate. But the honest truth is, it doesn't happen that way. But what I would actually ask of you is that although you may not be growing at the same rate as everyone else, and you may be faster, you may be slower, but ultimately the key thing is that you're growing, is that you must have someone to be accountable to. It may be a mentor, it may be a coach, it even may be just your team. I have a group of team leaders that I am accountable to every single morning. That they ask me, hey Michael, have you done these tasks? And I ask them, have you done your tasks? And then we have to be very honest, because the number one value we have is honesty. Because I'm very strict with that core value, that if someone cannot be honest in a team, they cannot be honest with themselves. And that's actually one of the core values that we've instilled in all of our team leaders. And it becomes their character, their identity, that we have integrity, we have honesty with each other, so that we can be accountable. Because I'm actually more happy, with my team leader saying, hey Michael, things have been happening at home and I just haven't been able to do it. And I'm like, thank you. So what can I do to help you? There's no point me scolding them. There's no point me shouting at them, because at the end of the day, they've still done their best. But I'm just there to support. Because let me ask you, how many of you would like more support or less support, right? It's more support. We always want more support to make sure we're moving in the right direction. But I'm just going to give you this last tip is, don't compare yourself to others. Some of you are thinking, oh, they're so much further than I am in life. But when you compare, it actually demotivates a lot of people, because then they actually lose the clarity of what their next step is. They're looking at 10 steps ahead rather than the next step. And then when they miss a few steps, it actually slows them down. Just compare yourself to yourself. Where were you yesterday? Where were you 1 week ago? And as long as you're moving in the right direction, congratulations. You know that you are growing, and you're growing at your rate. But if you want to grow faster, the only way is by getting a coach, get a mentor, because they are the ones that have already walked your journey already. And they've made the mistakes. And the good thing is when you have a mentor, you don't need to suffer because they've done all the suffering already for you. They'll just give you the lessons. Do this, do this, do this, and then give me your lessons, and then give me your results. So I really hope that you found this this time really actually not only exciting, but you've learned a lot from it as well. So what I want you guys to do is in the chat, put in your next step. Not your next 10 steps, just your next step. So I can be accountable to you and you can be accountable to me, because once we have that, then it's up to you to show up and actually provide and produce that result. So if you're willing to do that, put it in, send it out to the universe, because once you declare it, at least the answer has an opportunity to be, yes, I will achieve it. Because remember, if you don't put it out there, the answer's already no. So thank you so much for joining me today. And what I really wish of every one of you, although it's a Friday, is that at least you get your next step down. And if you have any questions, of course, put it in the comments. More than happy to help you. Other than that, thank you so much for being here today. And I look forward to seeing a lot of you next Friday as well. Have a great weekend. Bye for now.